Okay, guys, welcome. We're going to talk today about your mind is lying to you. Excuse me. This is relevant. This is important because I want you to have a tool to be able to get outside of something that feels very real to you. Americans are feeling trapped. You're saying, hey, stuff's $1 million, relationships are horrible, nobody cares, and I can't make it. It's too steep, I can't make it, and nobody cares. When we remove humans from their life cycle, we have something happen, and it feels like you can't break free of it. I'm from Detroit, and when I finally got out of Detroit, it feels like you're not going to get out. Like there's no way out. You're living in a city, watching everybody die, everybody's broke, everybody's starving. You can't make it. It's too steep an incline, but it feels like you can't get out. When you get out, then you tell everybody, hey guys, there's beautiful places where housing is cheap, pay is great, you just have to leave. And they're saying, hey, I got this parking ticket, I got the thing over here, I've got a friend in need, I can't just, I'm going to make a 2-week plan, and then I'm getting out of here. And 30 years later, they've been unable to break this cycle. There's a next parking ticket, there's a next friend in need. Each thing seems to be connected. Each time your mind is kind of telling you, you can break this cycle anytime, but this week we've got the parking ticket and we've got the DMV thing, and I lost my birth certificate. I got once I find that, we would help people, and their lives were forever broken by the same thing. Got to get a job, but I can't get a job because I don't have the driver's license. I can't get the driver's license because I misplaced the birth certificate. I was in a relationship. The birth certificate is over there. We split. Now I don't know where the thing is. And so for 30 years, we're just helping these people get their birth certificate back. You're going, am I just throwing my life away? This person is stuck, but it's their own doing. All you have to do is have your birth certificate so you can get the license, so you can get the job. So you stop getting the ticket for driving around with no license. And they're going, hey, it's not my fault. I got in a relationship. I'm like, well, the key word is you got in a relationship, but that's not what's going on. When we separate humans from their life cycle, the microorganisms that make the fluid inside the cranium are gone. They've gone to our treatment plant and murdered. And this person is now walking around with acid on their brain. They're getting into horrible relationships. Anybody from the outside would go, hey, that guy's going to beat you up. He looks like somebody that's going to beat you up. It looks like you're attracted to people that are going to beat you up. That person is going to beat you up. And then when they get beat up, they go, hey, my driver's license is gone. My birth certificate is gone. I can't even get that. I don't have transportation money to get any of these things. I need help. You're like, well, you need help for 30 years straight. This person looks like they're permanently broken. All we got to do is swap out the fluid inside the cranium. Nice people. Otherwise, we're not helping these people. You're wasting your life, babying this person, but you're not actually helping them make a progressive step, a productive step forward. And so I kind of want you to be able to back up and get perspective of what's inside of your head. And this is just a cool tool. It's some cool science to kind of to get that perspective. We're seeing things as very heavy, very serious, and inescapable more than anything. And this is tricks of your brain. Your brain is going to tell you You can't win no matter what you do, as long as you're separated from your microorganisms. The microorganisms have to go in a circle. They got to come out of you instead of going into the magical tube and to the water treatment plant to be murdered. They got to go into the soil. The plants are going to put the sugar into the soil. The microorganisms are going to have a genesis, an explosion. They're going to multiply at insane rates. 10 billion come out of you every time you poop. If you're pooping into the water treatment plant, it's 10 billion, 10 billion, 10 billion, 10 billion, 10 billion, none. And now the guys that make the cerebral fluid are gone. By tomorrow, your brain is sitting in acid, and now you're saying, hey, I'm stuck. I can't seem to make any progress here. We've got to break the idea that you can't change this. And so, let's take a look at this cool science. What we have done is, in epileptics, successful epileptics, it's very important to note that these weren't morons going into this. We don't have, homeless people getting these expensive surgeries. These are well-to-do people. These are successful people. These are doctors and lawyers, and maybe lawyers aren't the what I'm going to go for, but these are very successful people already, but they've got epilepsy, they've got seizures. What we can do is, there's not a lot of conductors between the left half and the right half of your brain. But when somebody has a seizure, this seizure travels through these wires, these conductors, from the left side to the right side. If we cut these handful of wires that connect the left and right side, the seizures can no longer travel from the left side to the right-hand side. And so these just don't turn into as big of events. They're still palpable, but they're not knocking people out. It's life-changing. However, after the fact, once we separate the two lobes, what we can do now is we study these people that have two unconnected lobes. So we've got two halves. One of the halves is verbal, and then the other half is nonverbal, but it speaks to the other half. And so we kind of get a glimpse of what we would consider to be the subconscious, or the ego, the superego, the id, or even the devil. Not a long time ago, just a short period of time ago, we weren't calling these things these fancy new names. We were saying that's the devil. We've got two things inside of us, the little angel sitting on one shoulder, a little devil sitting on the other shoulder, and our job as moral humans, as religious humans, is to choose the advice of the good one. We've got two voices inside of our head. Very, very interesting stuff. Later on, these are villainized. The superego. This thing inside of you. Freud says you've got this thing inside of you that's seeing penises, phalluses, and everything. It wants to, its root, its nature is that it wants to have sex with your mother. That wasn't even a fear you had. He was high on cocaine when he wrote these books, and apparently that's his little coke bag trick that he had. And he's just applying this to everybody else, but now you're going, what? I've got that inside of me. I had all these other problems. Now I've got this going on as well to be afraid of. So let's remove some of that, and let's look how simple the human mind actually is. We disconnect these two. Now, if we put a little divider up, we built a little space where these people can sit down, and there's a divider, and we've got a screen on either side. Understand, the left side of the brain controls the right side's hand and the right side's eye. The right side controls the left hand and the left eye. And so we can communicate with these opposite sides individually. Very interesting science, very interesting. We can't speak because you use two ears. However, we can put prompts up on a screen on either side. Now, what we can do is we can say on the prompts, tell these people to draw two different images. We can tell them to draw anything we want, but let's just say a circle and a square. What did I just do? What we're going to do, because we've got the wires connecting, is we're going to organize. So if we have a regular person go in there and sit in this with the little divider and tell them with their left hand draw a circle and with their right hand draw a square, we're going to try very hard, but we're going to draw something that looks like the mix between a circle and a square with both hands. We're going to draw something that looks similar and probably looks halfway between the two things we're being asked. These people, the left is unaware of the right, and the right is unaware of the left, and so they are able to draw two different images at the exact same time. Fascinating. Just fascinating science. We can put 3 items, as many items as we want, but we can put items here and tell them to pick an item and then ask the other side if it's aware of what item they have in their other hand. And they won't be aware. Now, this is super interesting. For the science to have gotten here, however, at one point they've asked the one side a trick question. Instead of just saying, hey, do you know what's in your left hand? They've said, hey, why did you pick up the item you didn't pick up? So they've lied to the one half of the brain. So let's say we've got a little plastic heart, a little plastic pony, and a pencil. We tell them with the prompter, hey, pick up one of the items. They pick up the pencil. Now we can ask the other side of the brain, why did you choose the heart? They didn't choose the heart. They chose the pencil. They got a pencil in their hand. Why did you choose the heart? Now, 100% of the time, the correct answer, 100% of the time, the correct answer would be, I don't know what I have in my left hand. That's the answer they should be getting. I don't know why the other half of my brain did that. I don't know what's in my hand. I don't know would be the correct answer. That's not the answer they're getting. Understand, for 300,000 years, there's one genome. That brain is your brain. That brain is your brain. The people that have done the worst things on the face of the planet is the exact same genome that you have. 21,000 switches, the exact same in every single human for the last 300,000 years. If we separate this person from their nature, their mind is going to make a decision, their genome is going to make a decision and say, hey, we've got to get rid of some of these people. And depending on how few human energies there are and how many people, that's going to set the urgency. So when we're seeing people that one day are normal, and then they wake up the next day and they've snapped. 100% normal yesterday. Today, if they go buy a gun, we're dealing with genetics here, people, and any one of us are susceptible. If we have few enough human energies and enough of our species packed into a certain area, your genome is capable of the same thing anybody else's is. I'm saying this so you know, this isn't some bad person. We didn't find somebody that was about to do something immoral. We're not using prison inmates These are successful people. When we study their mind, we're studying our own, we're studying your mind. You would not act any differently. All of these people's minds are saying, well, here's why. And then they're coming out with a story. You're hearing a story inside of your head that's saying it's difficult to exercise, it's difficult to eat right. Your genome has measured the data inside of the fence where you spend time. If you spend all your time at work, that's what it's measuring. If you spend most of your time at home, that's what it's measuring, but it's also measuring the other spaces. Everything is coming in to this complicated mathematical equation. Then your body is making evolutionary decisions, not for you, but for the species, for the benefit of the species and for the benefit of the planet that's supporting us. The habitation, we call it. It's not saying, hey, this is what's the best thing for the entire Earth. It's taking measurements as far as how many of the species are available, how much energy is available, and then soil health, how much microorganism wealth do we have returning to us. And then it's making evolutionary decisions in a small scale. You're probably cooperating with the people around you in this. We're communicating with pheromones and molecules and energy, literal electricity, and cooperating with the people around us. However, we don't know whether or not your brain is making global decisions as much as just measuring the small space where you're spending time and saying, hey, how many energies, how many carbohydrates and how many protein, how much carbohydrate, how much protein energy is available for our species, and how many of the species do we have? And then it's telling you something that sounds very real. This is me, this is who I am. It's coming from inside of my own head. This seems very serious, unavoidable. And I just want you to know how small this voice is. This isn't you per se. This is feedback. This is, if you were born speaking English, the act of speaking this language seems like this next level thing. But that's only because you weren't born a bee. A bee has just as complex a language, and the bee is saying the exact same thing. Look at these morons speaking English. If they were truly evolved, they'd be speaking bee. English is kind of the dumbest, laziest, newest language on the planet. Spanish-speaking people, when you learn to speak Spanish, there are easily 4 times as much information, random access memory needing to be used for the same language. When we speak just one sentence, one phrase in Spanish, we can tell if it's past tense, present tense, future tense. We can tell if we're speaking to a group. We can tell the approximate age of the people that we're speaking to. We can tell the sex of the people that we are speaking to. And we're inferring acknowledgement, respect, and love are all attached to the words inside of this phrase. I acknowledge that you're an older, respected male. Each of these words is going to, the end of the word is going to be changed to indicate that we're speaking to an older person that we respect. All inside of the same sentence that in America, It would certainly be faster, slightly, 1 millisecond faster to get rid of all of that other information. And yet Americans are going, you're here now, learn the language. Learn the language or go back, get out. Because they've got this idea that English, our horrible form of English, is this elevated thing. When of course it's a de-evolution. It's one of the newest, sloppiest languages. Spanish has 4 words for things that we don't have a single word for. And we're constantly changing this language to make the words shorter, more stylish. Where this other beautiful, thousands of year old language is acknowledging humans, things that humans absolutely need. Everybody in America is saying, hey, nobody cares about me. Nobody cares about me. And the language is saying the exact same thing. You, whoever the F you are, group of people, old people, young people, you. Or this other language is saying, hey, if you're a gal that's married, Donia, this amazing person that's worshipped by the community, by the culture. Every time somebody addresses this person, they're going to say, I acknowledge your space in this community. And it's lots of the language is going to have a more, and you're going to say, why would you be saying you love this person or this person is loved? We all need that. We've deleted that from English, and now everybody's saying, hey, nobody cares about me. Nobody loves me. They want sex, but there's never any words indicating, and yet we're saying this is the height of progress. And the bee is saying, hey, you're both wrong. Why didn't you guys learn to speak bee? These other animals' languages are just as complex as our languages. We've got to take a step back. The Bible taught us for thousands of years that we were made in some other place. We're not one of the animals. All these animals were just kind of vomited onto the earth. And then God took the time to make just man, and then kind of, threw together a woman as well. So we've got, the white male is the only thing on the earth that matters, and he's got license to do anything in the world, but his brain is so complex that he can't escape his own problems. It's all crap, guys. It's all crap. This gives us some beautiful perspective. This thing is just regurgitating whatever the norm is. But we see motive. If we have removed this person from the life cycle, that regurgitation, that sort of, just sound back whatever the cultural norm is, along with whatever this guy's motive is. The motive is going to be either building human equity, human health equity, human home equity, human safety equity. If this guy has sufficient energies, his genome is going to say, hey, let's build equity. We can make some more people here. This is great. We have potential here. We've got enough energy. We can actually make more people here. Let's build the health of the people that are here currently, because they need to take care of the next generation. Or if we have, like pretty much all Americans, separated ourselves from this, we're putting these microorganisms into the water treatment plant. The brain says, the genome says, hey, the genome says, sorry about that, the genome makes the decision, hey, we need fewer people here. Now your brain is going to say, stuff is hard, dude. Exercise is hard. Work seems hard. Eating properly is hard. Avoiding chemicals is difficult. I'm going to start doing that tomorrow. I'm going to make a New Year's resolution. But until that day comes, I'm going to live a little, man. I'm going to enjoy my carbohydrates, because come the January 1st, I'm going to kill it. So I really don't have to worry about it today. I can kind of relax and in that time, you're going to do some damage to your body that you can't take back. If you did lose the weight, there'd be crap hanging off of your body now. These are things that very quickly we can do some damage that we're not going to be able to undo in this lifetime. And so I just kind of wanted to relate to you guys, this noise that you're hearing in your head that seems so big, so important. This is who I am. A lot of us have had guilt and shame attached to these things. Some chick ate an apple 4,000 years ago, and now you're walking around with original sin, and so of course you're constantly defeated. Of course, when you try to do something good for your body is fighting back. That's crap, guys. There's no such thing as original sin. The chick was made up. Love the Bible. Wonderful stories. There's so much beautiful scientific information inside of this historical book. Past that, though, every single church has already said, hey, those people didn't exist. That they certainly weren't the first people. They certainly weren't made by a wish genie in the sky. Those were meant to be examples, and we kind of got carried away for a little while. But they're still teaching this. Publicly, each one of these religions have renounced, and said, hey, evolution is a thing. That's how we all got here. And yet, when your preacher teaches on Sunday, he's opening the same book and teaching you the exact same information. And so we're walking around, a lot of you guys are walking around with the same guilt going, hey, we're humans. It's human nature. It's Murphy's Law. If it can go wrong, it's going to go wrong. And that's all crap. That's just stuff we're repeating, we're regurgitating over and over again. It's just noise, guys. The brain is not eminently programmable as far as I'm just going to make this habit. That's what everybody's been saying for hundreds of years. 14 days to make a habit. Just force yourself to run for 14 days. If you don't have sufficient microorganisms manufacturing adrenaline, endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin, the anticipation of having a runner's high, the anticipation of having a burst of energy, the anticipation of having motivation, or the anticipation of having happiness generated by this action is not possible. Habits don't matter. If these microorganisms are not going in a circle, they don't have a pathway to get back to you. They don't have a place to multiply, a pathway to come up here and then have you consume them again. The anticipation that you're just going to slug your way down this road for 14 days and suddenly you're going to now have these things. You can call on them, but if you don't have the lactobacillus you need to make serotonin, serotonin is human happiness. There is no pill that's a replacement or feels anything like human happiness. You can't get that from a pill, guys. It has to come from microorganisms. If you're putting the microorganisms in the water treatment plant, there is no hope for you. But luckily, there's dirt all over the place. The only reason I want you to kind of disconnect from this, all of those people from my childhood are still back in Detroit. And when you tell them, hey dude, it's been 30 years. I told you there's cheap housing and great pay 30 years ago. At the time you had a speeding ticket, you had some kind of relationship, you weren't sure if it was done or not. Something, that was 30 years ago. Break it. Go. It can feel like you're stuck. This can feel so real. And I want you to be able to separate yourself a little bit from that and understand if the housing in the middle of your city is $800,000 and you feel like the only house on the face of the planet is that $800,000 house in the middle of your city, you're going to commit suicide, yo. That's too much pressure. I want you to understand that in Detroit, in Michigan, one of the most beautiful states on the planet, breathtaking. There's houses for $10,000 in nice little cities, corner lots with huge pieces of property for $10,000. There's cheaper ones than that, but that's a nice house. That's a lot of times the city puts on brand new roof, brand new furnace, brand new high efficiency windows and doors. So you're getting a house for the price of the remodel that the city just did. That's a mortgage of $25 a month. That's a mortgage of $50 a month. But the property outside of just outside of your city costs nothing. Nothing. Trying to live in the center of that city where there's millions of people and almost no human plants, human food in them. Those cute trees, if you don't eat them, you don't eat leaves, if you're not a cow, that's not human energies. There's not even enough oxygen in that city to support the number of people there. The best thing you could do is get outside of the city limits, but 20 feet outside of the city limit, you can buy an acre for $40,000, $50,000. Outside of the most expensive cities in America, if you get just outside of the city, you can buy an acre of land for nothing. And then get a Amazon tiny house shipped to your thing, guys. This is way more plausible than you think. And then once you get these microorganisms going in a circle, you're not going to have to try. The voice inside of your head is going to change. Whatever it's telling you is difficult is going to become easy. But it can't do that. No motivation is possible unless there's microorganisms producing dopamine. No happiness is possible unless there's microorganisms producing serotonin, people. You could have sex with that one person, that supermodel. If there's no endorphins available, if all these chemicals aren't there, nitric oxide, you can buy nitric oxide in the form of Viagra or whatever brand name you want. But if you don't have the microorganisms inside of you that are making all these other chemicals, you'll be physically capable of sex, but it's not going to be the mind-blowing experience you're anticipating. You cannot enjoy sex. Just taking a pill that makes your wiener hard is not replacing all those other chemicals that actually make you feel amazing when you have sex and then content afterwards. These GLP-1s aren't just suppressing appetite. They're making you feel content without the food, guys. But that's not the only time we're supposed to be feeling content. If you're having sex and then going, man, that didn't do it. That's not the sex I wanted. That's not a sex that is making me feel satiated afterwards. understand the feeling of contentment that's manufactured by a microorganism that in your city setting is leaving this guy and going into the water treatment plant to be killed, guys. Once we rejoin the human life cycle, everything gets easy. You guys are super important to me. I'm going to do this again real soon.